Oh, this is going to be so painful.
Oh, you're already here. Well, greetings everybody, and welcome to a new series I will be doing in which I will be completing every single achievement in SpaceFlight Simulator. And I have set out a couple of rules for myself to make it, of course, more painful. So I cannot use any quick saves, that is forbidden. I cannot revert back to the VAB, nope. And basically I have to do the mission without skipping or reverting any seconds or minutes. So basically I am inducing as much pain as possible while doing this. Oh, and did I mention I'm doing it no clip too? Alright, so let's commence launch 1. So this is the rocket I built up for the first mission we will be conducting. It was meant to be reusable, but I kinda forgot to turn off the engine, so I just ran out of fuel on the first stage, so yeah. It's a pretty simple rocket, it's only two stages, as the mission isn't that complex. I'm gonna be orbiting Earth and then doing a flyby of the moon. So as you can see, I have installed a couple of mods, but they don't really affect the gameplay, you could say. I mean, I have the SAS mod, yes, but I did deinstall it later on. The booster is burning up because I did use up all the fuel in it. Big brain move. So yeah, now we're flying past the moon. I thought that was an achievement you could get, but it appears it's not. It's only like reaching low lunar orbit and then landing on it, so yeah. Alright, now we're just cruising back to Earth. And I gotta say, these 6 wide capsules are really cool. They like... Steph should add something like this because it's really convenient adding it on 6 wide parts and not having like a 2 wide capsule fitting on the 6 wide parts. That's really cool. So now we will re-enter the atmosphere. And this has to be the most ball-clenching part in any mission. But yeah, now we have landed back and it was a pretty successful mission. These are the achievements we got. And we have completed 7 out of 9 advancements. Also, perform spacewalk in low Earth orbit. For launch 2, I need a bigger, wider and stronger rocket, because we are gonna be attempting to land on the lunar surface. So I have improved the first rocket that we had. I added 2 new boosters and then a lander and a service module to it. We will be landing on the moon Apollo style. And I didn't sync up the boosters, so one of them ran out of fuel before the other one. Oops. That was a little unfortunate, but we got it back working. Booster separation, and we separate the launch tower. This rocket has a shit ton of delta V, it is very effective. But now we separate both of these modules and we will dock up. So we can transfer over to the moon. Steady. We want this docking to be as perfect as possible, and it isn't docking. So now that we have a dysfunctional docking port, and I believe this to be because of Assault's mod, so that's a little annoying. So I just kind of rammed the whole service module into the lunar lander because I got angry. Now onwards to launch 3. So as you can see, I did redesign the capsule and now it can actually dock, which is amazing. And it looks a little bit worse than the one before, but at least now it will dock up. our fuel in both the boosters and the first stage have run out, so we will now separate the launch tower and the first stage. We can separate the fairings as they don't need to protect anything, and we can actually dock now. Yes, very surprising. And now that we have waited, we can transfer over to the moon. I got a pretty good encounter. And we'll burn retrograde, and I actually ran out of fuel. So my big brain decision was to bring the capsule with me down to the lunar surface. Yeah, I didn't know how to, well, there was a fairing blocking the fuel for the lander, so I can refuel the service module, so I just had to use the lander for the duration of the mission. Close to the lunar surface, only 150 meters above it. My speed is about 10 meters per second, around that. And touchdown. We landed on a bit of a hill, but it doesn't matter because we landed. And I'm waiting for the achievement to pop up. There we go. Let's roll. Anyhow, enough fucking around, let's get back home. Burning in the wrong direction. After the burn was completed, I did realize I didn't make a interplanetary trajectory. So I burned retrograde to stabilize my orbit, and this was the best I got. After I ran out of fuel on the descent stage, I separated the capsule because it had RCS thrusters and a 2x4 fuel tank. So that tank just saved the whole mission. Yeah. So now we are putting out a trajectory so it goes into the atmosphere so we can dip in. And this was getting a little heated. As you can see, my temperature is increasing rapidly. So I activated the RCS thrusters to stabilize myself, and when I deactivated the thrusters, the capsule tipped over and burnt up. I was trying to desperately save the little command pod I had in there, but nah, it was gone, man. The only thing that survived was that one heat shield tile, and I watched it go down to the surface in the hopes that it would decrease its speed enough to land safely so I could recover it, so I could get all the achievements, but, well, no, luck was not on my side and it crashed into the surface. Let me tell you, Launch 3 didn't go as smoothly. I did a couple design changes. I added a docking port on top of the dysfunctional docking port. I changed the Titan engine into 2 Frontier engines, so that gives me loads more Delta V. And I widened the fairing, I believe. So yeah, now we're heading over to space, and the boosters will separate shortly. And as you can see, the boosters are separating, but still the main tank has 80% left of its fuel. That is just insane, and it actually had enough fuel to give me a translunar injection, which we are commencing right now, and we only need about 660 meters per second. So everything was going pretty smoothly. I was finally thinking I could separate and dock up, and the docking port was dysfunctional. It didn't separate because I added a command module which stuck to the engine. So my ingenious plan was to ram the whole station with the service module and the lander into the first stage to try to knock out the command module. And well, yeah, I rammed into the fairing, and yeah, no, I'm getting angry at this point, to be honest. After the simple fix of simply moving the probe, now I can finally launch the rocket. Onwards to launch 4. That little piece of debris was kind of scaring me, since I thought the trajectories would meet up and it would crash my rocket, but thankfully it flew past me. The mission was going pretty smoothly. I had separated the boosters and everything was going very fine, but then I separated the command module. I didn't check my staging, and yeah, big oopsie. That really fucking pissed me off, since I had to relaunch again, but yeah. I skipped over the whole launch sequence for launch 5, since you've seen it 5 times already, so yeah, now we're in space, my staging is correct, and we just separated the lander from the first stage, and we have a lunar injection. I mean a trajectory to the moon. And there we go, we finally landed after so many fucking attempts. I don't know why that was so difficult, probably because I couldn't revert back or revert any seconds, but we finally landed. But now, let's get the hell out of here. And we've landed back on Earth, safe and sound. And finally, I have completed every single achievement for Earth and the Moon. So as you can see here, every single Earth and the Moon. And I cannot complete that with as perform spacewalk in low Earth orbit mission. But yeah, as you can see, everything is now complete. It is time to turn our eyes towards Mars. So, launch 6. So, the Mars missions went actually way better than the Moon missions. I don't know how this even happened, but I'm just weird, I guess. I can't land on the Moon, but I can do a Mars mission flawlessly. Yeah, I don't know how that works, but now we are launching a little space station which will have engines, and then we will dock a crew lander, so that will be landing on Mars, and the engines will be transferring it between the bodies, so Phobos, Deimos, and the Martian surface. The station isn't really anything too excessive, except for 2 Frontier engines and the biggest 8-wide fuel tank. So now we are just circularizing, making around a 100 kilometer orbit. And this technically would be launch 7. So now we are launching crew over to the space station, which will be landing both on Phobos and on Mars. I didn't have enough fuel for Deimos, but I will do a separate mission for that. And we won't actually need the space station, which is very nice. Now we've made orbit and we will burn over to the space station so we can dock. And successful docking. The second stage from the other rocket had some fuel, so I'm going to transfer over that, separate the empty fuel tank, and we can burn over to Mars. We've arrived at Mars at last. So our first destination is Phobos. The moon, I've actually never landed on it. I just never thought about landing there. It didn't really seem too interesting. So it was kind of interesting. And the moon was very, very simple to land on. It was just getting the trajectory right, which was pretty easy. And then you go so fucking slowly. I wish like SFS added more physical time warp. Because like going there with 3 times physical time warp feels like thought speed, to be honest. It's so slow. But now we'll burn over to Phobos. Getting our trajectory right, and we've arrived. Now it's time to leave the safety of our space station and go ahead and land on it. You go so slow when you're landing on one of these moons. You could actually, I think, just use RCS thrusters, since you're going around 12 meters per second. I mean, yeah, and to orbit you only need 20 meters per second. There we go, we got the achievement. Let's go! Now that we've landed on Phobos, it is time to sync up with our space station and transfer over to Mars. The docking wasn't really smooth. I smashed into the solar panel, at least I didn't blow it off. But after configuring it myself, I docked. And what you're watching here is real-time speed, and I'm time warping times 3. Yeah, that was pretty slow, but now we've gone above 1,500 meters. I think it's 1,000, I can't remember. So now we can finally go quicker and time warp to where we need to go. We will lower our orbit so we don't have too much of a harsh re-entry, since your boy Quebec did forget to add a heat shield. Undocking from the space station, we will be heading down to the surface. I thought about deploying the solar panels so I could create more drag, but those began to get a little toasty when I re-entered, so yeah. And then I don't know what happened here. Either I slept on my keyboard or something, but I did not realize I was starting to burn up and was about to disintegrate in Mars's atmosphere. But fear not, since I did wake up suddenly and activated my Frontier engine. So now we are just slowly heading down, and now I deploy my solar panels to create more drag. And I'll deploy some chutes and what the fuck? Being a little bit too focused on deploying my parachute, I didn't realize I was smacking into the ground going at about 200 meters per second. After that, the spaceship just kind of rolled around the surface until it slowed down and I could try to get it standard up. After fucking around with the solar panels and the landing legs, I realized this was it. I landed on the wrong side where there's no landing legs and only the solar panel. So I would have to launch sideways if I wanted to dock with the space station. So I did just that. Waiting for the optimal transfer point, and now it is time to ignite the engine and get off the surface of this planet. Alright, retracting the solar panels and the landing legs, we're heading over to the space station. We've got about 100 meters per second to burn. Reaching Mars's atmosphere, now we are in space and approaching the space station. This docking was marginally better than the last one, as it went way smoother. There we go. Now it is time to head back home and secure the achievements. Now we are doing a deorbit burn so we can head back into the atmosphere. Our green planet once again. And now the most ball-clenching part of this mission. Re-entering. Luckily for me, the re-entry went smoothly and nothing exploded. Touchdown. We are back on Earth, safe and sound. Now we've completed 4 of the Mars, every single Mars achievement, every single Phobos achievement. Now we just need the one Deimos. On to launch 8. Now we will be landing on Deimos. And I don't really need the space station as the rocket already has enough Delta V. This is a time lapse of me getting to orbit and then making a trajectory over to Mars. Arriving at Mars, I got a pretty good trajectory to Deimos. Now, separating from the second stage, it was actually pretty goddamn powerful. It got me all the way from low Earth orbit all the way to Mars and then Deimos, which is nice. And we have landed. Successful touchdown on the second moon of Mars. Now being on here, it is time to head back home. Relighting the engine, and we are in interplanetary space and we're burning back to Earth. Alright, now we will do a deorbit burn and commence the most ball-clenching part of any mission in this series. Yeah. Separating from the lander, and we are re-entering. So thank you so much for watching this video. This is only the first episode of this series. I really do hope you enjoyed watching it and will like to see the continuation. But until then, I'll see you in the next video. See you next time.